everyone, it's me, Matthew, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making a really easy and delicious recipe that I know you can make at home. It's great for an every night meal, or if you want to have people over for a nice dinner party. It's chicken French. It's juicy chicken breast with sweet caramelized onions and a beautiful onion sauce over angel hair. What could be better than that? So if you like this content, remember to subscribe and like this video. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so for this recipe you're going to need about 6 pounds, roughly, of sweet onions. So what I've done is I've cut the onion in half and I've peeled off the skin so you're just left with the nice white interior. Now I'm going to slice them very thinly against the grain like this. You want nice thin slices. Just like this. And now once these are all done, I'm going to put these into a bowl. I'm going to cut the rest of them, and once they're all done, I'm going to add them to the pot. Alright, so let's start our onions. Here in my skillet, what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil right into the bottom of the pan. We just want a nice coat to the bottom of the pan, just like that. And we're going to let that heat up for a little bit. I have it on about medium to medium high right now, just to get the oil nice and hot here on my skillet. Once this gets nice and hot, I'm going to add in my onions that I've sliced. As I said, this is about 6 pounds. If you're making more, definitely add more onions because they melt down quite a lot. So you definitely want enough. As I said, 6 pounds should be good enough for us, so we'll do that. Alright, my skillet's nice and hot. We're going to add these nice and easily into the skillet. And I'm going to add this in stages. So I'm just going to spread this out just a little bit. Just like so. And then in between each stage, I'm going to add in some salt. And some pepper. Awesome. Once these get just a tiny bit soft, I'm going to add the next round in until the entire skillet's filled up. I know this looks like a small skillet, but they're going to melt down. So we're going to wait until these soften up just a little bit. We're going to cook them everything for about 10 minutes, and then it's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour to get them all nice and caramelized. I've reduced the heat to medium-low, and now we're just going to let them kind of start to break down. I'm going to cook them for about 10 minutes here on medium-low, turning them every so often just until they start to get nice and tender. As you can see, they're already starting to get a little tender here on the ones on the bottom. I'm just going to give them a nice little twist. And once about 10 minutes goes by, I'm going to lower them down to about low, just a little bit above low. I'm going to add just a pinch of sugar to help the caramelizing process speed up, so they caramelize a little faster. And then we're going to let them just do their thing for about an hour, turning them every so often. You want to make sure that you're low and slow for these onions. Low and slow is key to getting a nice caramelization on onions. You don't want them, I know it's tempting because they take so long to get that heat really high, but keep that heat nice and low and slow, then you're going to have some beautiful, beautiful caramelized onions. Alright, so now the onions are getting nice and soft, just like this. I'm reducing the heat all the way down to low, and we're going to let them do their thing, as I said, for about an hour or so. 45 minutes to an hour. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit them with a little bit of salt and pepper, just one more little round like this. Awesome. And then to help that caramelization process, I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of sugar, just right over the top of it. This will help them get nice and caramelized a lot quicker. Perfect. I'm just going to stir that in, and I'm going to let them just kind of saute and reduce down until we get that nice caramelized texture and flavor. Alright, now it's time to prep our chicken. So I have 3 chicken breasts here that I have filleted and lightly pounded, just so they're nice and thin. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drizzle them with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil over the top. And then here in my pinch bowl to season them, I have some salt, I have some pepper, I have some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some dried parsley. And I'm just going to sprinkle them over the top of each, just until they're nice and well seasoned. You don't want to add too much seasoning because you're going to have a lot of seasoning from the sauce and the caramelized onions, and you want those flavors to shine through. This is just to give the chicken a little bit of flavor. So we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do both sides. And this is all just a taste. You can put as much or as little of the seasoning in as you like. All right, I'm just going to finish it off here. Now I'm going to rub the chicken breast just a little bit to make sure that the seasoning's all over them. And then we're going to bake them in the oven at 375 for about 15 to 18 minutes, just depending on when they're nice and done, because they're going to continue cooking in the pan with the onions, so you don't want them too done because you want them to be nice and juicy. All right, these are all ready to go. All right, and after about an hour, this has been about 55 minutes of me cooking it uncovered here on low. You can see that you have such a beautiful caramelization, and we're going to scrape the bottom of the pan to get all of those delicious burnt on bits up off the bottom of the pan. They're tender, they're silky, they're fragrant. Oh my God, they look so beautiful. So now we're just going to kind of let these chill here. I'm actually going to reduce this down to a simmer temperature just so it kind of stays warm, but I'm not going to continue the cooking process. Just a very light heat that's going to remain on these. Alright, now it's time to start our sauce. So in this saucepan I've put 4 cups of beef broth. I've put 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder. I've put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt and pepper, and I've put in 1 teaspoon of dried onions. So it's going to be similar to a French onion soup starter, base, but not necessarily a French onion soup, because I would probably make that in here with these beautiful caramelized onions if I was making the soup. This is just going to be more of the sauce that we're going to make. So I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I'm going to reduce it and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. It should reduce by a little bit, and that's what you want. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start making a roux to thicken this. Alright, let's start our roux. So here in the pan on about medium heat, I'm going to start by melting some butter. A roux is made by making equal parts of butter and flour in a pan. So now that this butter is all nice and melted, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of flour, and we're going to start by making the roux and just stirring it around. This isn't going to be a lot of roux. I don't want a ton of it. I want a nice light roux, because you don't want to make a gravy. We just want to make a sauce. We just want to thicken that beef broth right there. So we're going to let this go for about 3 to 5 minutes until a beautiful roux forms. All right, this has been about 3 minutes. We have a nice medium dark roux that has formed. And I'm going to add this now into our beautiful beef stock. I've gone ahead and added our roux to our nice beef broth here. And as you can see, it's still very thin. This is exactly what we want. We don't want it to be very thick. You just wanted it thicker than a beef stock, because this is going to still thicken up within the dish. So this is a nice consistency right here. Very thin, not gravy-like at all. A nice thin sauce, but just thicker than broth. All right, into the oven our chicken breasts go. We're going to put these in for about 15 to 18 minutes. Until they're nice and juicy and tender. Alright, so we have our sauce cooking away and simmering nicely. Our onions are still on that simmer temperature, just keeping them nice and warm. It's time to start the pasta. The chicken is in the oven, so it's time to start our angel hair. So go ahead and get your favorite pot, and we're going to fill it with water, and always salt your pasta water if you don't. It's a must. You have to salt that pasta water. So I'm going to get this boiling, and we're going to throw in the angel hair. Alright, it's time to assemble our casserole real quick. So I'm going to take about 1/4 cup of our sauce, maybe a little more. And I'm just going to pour it right over the top here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our chicken breasts that have now come out. I'm just going to lay them right here in the pot. Just like this. And then finally what I'm going to do is I have 1 cup of freshly shredded mozzarella mixed with 1 cup of freshly shredded gruyere cheese. And I'm just going to put this right over the top here, just like so. to make sure you're getting a nice, even distribution of the cheese. So once this whole thing is covered, I'm going to put this back into the 375-degree oven for about 5 minutes, just until the cheese melts. You don't want it to get too brown, you just want it until the cheese melts. All right, this is going to go right back into the oven. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. It just came out of the oven, and now it's time to plate it up. All right, and here's the finished product, chicken French. You have the beautiful chicken breast with that beautiful gruyere and mozzarella, those sweet caramelized onions, that beautiful sweet onion sauce over the angel hair with a little piece of parsley on top. I don't know how it could get any more delicious than this. I truly hope you make this sometime soon. All right, everyone, thank you for watching. That's it for this video. If you like this content, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.